I-225 shut down this afternoon as thousands of peaceful protesters flood the highway with renewed calls for justice in the death of Elijah McClain. This protest started at Aurora Police Headquarters before people marched down the interstate. Good evening and thank you for joining us this Saturday. I'm JACLYN Allen. Elijah McClain died after an interaction with Aurora Police and paramedics last August, and the case is now in the national spotlight. Organizers are now calling for all 3 APD officers and the 2 paramedics involved to be fired immediately, to reopen the case and file criminal charges, and for the city to pay restitution to the McClain family. We have team coverage of today's demonstration. Let's check in first with Denver 7's Sloan Dickey. And Sloan, buildings around that area were boarded up as a precaution, but so far this is peaceful.
Yes, the whole day it has been a peaceful presence here, naming Elijah McClain and calling for a reform to the policing system. If you can look behind me, there's probably about 2,000 people here right now. There were several thousand here earlier today marching through the streets, calling Elijah McClain's name. They were saying they're here for one thing, and that is to reform the police department that they say killed Elijah McClain. There's a new name at the forefront of protests for change in Aurora.
This is Aurora, Denver's George Floyd.
Protesters gathered outside of the Aurora Police Department Saturday seeking justice for Elijah McClain, who died nearly a year ago after a struggle with police.
But we demand justice. Those law enforcement officers and the people who administered the ketamine need to be in jail.
Justice needs to be served, and we are upset.
Family members coming out as well.
I believe that justice needs to be served because my cousin was just listening to music. He was not being suspicious at all.
Saying though it's come months late, the support is encouraging.
It's fantastic that so many people are out here supporting Elijah's family, speaking his name.
Aurora police in recent weeks have committed to reform, banning the corroded chokehold and putting checks in place to excessive force. But protesters say that's not enough. Later in the day, marching in the streets and Interstate 225.
Elijah McClain! Elijah McClain! We want those police officers fired. We want those paramedics fired, the one who injected him with that ketamine. At the end of the day, no one should be treated in that fashion.
At the very least, they say they want to stop to police violence.
It shouldn't take international media attention for that to happen. Every single time a black man is killed in America, it should get this level of attention.
Now, as you saw there, people from the city of Aurora here to protest, and also from the state, also the family of Elijah McClain here. It should be noted that Aurora police were helping to guide those protests, which were peaceful throughout the day. They were closing down roads leading even onto Highway 225. The one area of contention, as you can see just to my right, is that police line in front of the police department. At times, police coming out in full riot gear, kind of sparking some anger from the crowd. However, when they left and when the police officers moved on and exited the scene, that has diffused as well. So throughout the entire day, this has been a peaceful protest, reiterating the name of George Floyd, of Elijah McClain. I apologize. Back to you, JACLYN.
All right, thank you so much, Sloan. And with this case in the spotlight, Governor Polis just ordered prosecutors to reopen the investigation this week. Denver 7's Lance Hernandez has been reporting on McClain's case since the very beginning last summer. He joins us now live from the protests. And Lance, is the governor's response enough for this crowd?
Well, there is hope that there will be justice, and there is also pessimism that there will be justice. This case happened back in August 24th of 2019. That's when Elijah McClain was forcefully detained by police and ended up dying. The family at that time called for an independent investigation, but it didn't happen. About 10 months later, the Aurora city manager hired an attorney in Connecticut to conduct a third-party investigation, then cancel that contract after complaints were raised that that same attorney had favored police departments in other municipalities. Then the mayor of Aurora asked city council to look at hiring a third-party investigator, and then the governor stepped in and asked the attorney general or appointed him as a special investigator. Now, I asked protesters on the march today whether they have faith that that third-party investigation will render justice.
Not
if we don't force it to be, because we've seen what they do when there's no eyes on them, and that's what we're here to do. There is nothing left but justice for Elijah McClain. That is the only thing we will stop for.
The city of Aurora and the whole state of Colorado know that we're not going to have any more injustice being done upon us, you know. And now we're here and we're ready to fight, and we're going to get some, you know, some justice for Elijah McClain. A lot of people that they heard out here that you don't even know their names of, you know.
One of the chants that we've heard at protest after protest after protest over the last 3 weeks is no justice, no peace. These folks committed to getting justice. In Aurora, Lance Hernandez, Denver 7.
Lance, you've been following this all along. Thanks so much for that recap of